You know that feeling, right? You've got this great idea, this thing you absolutely have to do, but you're just waiting for someone else to jump in first. Well, today, we're going to dig into why we do that and how a really old story holds the key to just taking control and getting it done. So let's just start with a direct question for you. Think about it. That project, that conversation, that goal you've been dreaming about. What part of your life is just sitting there, stuck in a holding pattern, because you're waiting for someone else to show up? Keep that in your head because it's at the very heart of what we're about to get into.
All right, to really get to the bottom of this whole waiting game, we're going to look at a classic fable from Aesop. It's called The Lark and Her Young Ones. Now, I know it sounds simple, it's just a story in a wheat field, but honestly, it breaks down the psychology of why we act and maybe more importantly, why we delay, just brilliantly.
So first up, meet the mother lark. She is not just some random bird, okay? Think of her as the ultimate people watcher. She's got wisdom, she's got experience, she can see right through empty talk and knows what's actually gonna happen. For her and her kids, survival literally depends on reading the signs correctly. And then you've got the farmer. It's his field, his wheat, his responsibility. He's what we could call latent power. You know, all that potential that every single one of us has, just sitting there, untapped, as long as we're waiting for somebody else to do the heavy lifting for us. So the farmer sees his wheat is perfectly ripe, and he says, "Great, I'll call my neighbors and friends to help." His little chicks start freaking out, but the mother lark, she's totally calm. She knows a fundamental truth. Saying you'll get help and actually getting help are two very different things. When you rely on other people, you're just inviting delays. And just like the lark knew would happen, days go by. Nothing. The wheat is now overripe, it's about to be ruined, and then, finally, something clicks for the farmer. He's done waiting. He makes a totally different kind of decision. Tomorrow, he says, we're doing it ourselves. And boom, that's the moment everything changes. The mother lark hears this new tone, this new resolve, and she knows it's time to pack up and leave. And here's the real lesson. Action wasn't triggered because the wheat was ready. Action happened the second the farmer took personal responsibility. When you decide to do the work yourself, things are going to happen, period. So let's just look at this timeline, because it lays it all out. Day 1, the farmer calls for friends. Result, nothing. The lark just waits. Days later, the wheat is going bad and he's still waiting. It's only on that final day, when the plan switches from depending on others to depending on himself, that action is a sure thing. The work gets done when he decides he will do it. Okay, let's pull back from the story and really talk about the powerful psychology at play here. This isn't just a tale about farming, right? It's about the huge difference between just intending for something to happen and actually having the will to make it happen. What this fable perfectly illustrates is something we can call the delay of the collective. It's that cozy little psychological buffer we build for ourselves when we make our progress depend on other people. The second we ask for help before we've even started, we're basically just handing our own urgency over to someone else. And the difference is just massive. On one side, you have social intent. Let's call our friends. That's just passive hope. It completely depends on other people's schedules, their moods, whatever. But on the other side, you have personal will. We must set to work, ourselves. That's active. That's a real commitment. It's based on your resolve and nothing else. And hey, this isn't just some philosophical idea from an old fable. Modern psychology has a name for this. It's the bystander effect. Research shows it again and again. The more people who are available to step in and help, the less likely it is that any single person will actually do it. We all just assume, someone else will handle it. So, the big question is, how does this ancient story actually show up in our lives right now? Let's take a look at what the modern harvest really looks like. I mean, just look at this. It happens everywhere. In our personal lives, we wait for a friend to go to the gym with us, and our health just kind of withers on the vine. In our relationships, we wait for the other person to bring up that tough topic, and the tension just keeps building. Professionally, we wait for the perfect business partner or consultant, and the market completely moves on without us. In every single case, waiting for neighbors means we risk losing the whole harvest. So this brings us right back to you. It's a really important question to ask yourself. That big goal you're working on right now, is your plan for it totally dependent on someone else's schedule, someone else's motivation, or is it built on the solid ground of your own commitment? Okay, so if you're listening to this and thinking, yep, that's me, what's the move? Well, it's time to stop waiting. It's time for a call to action. It's time to reap your own field.
So let's boil it all down to a few key lessons here. First, just realize that sometimes asking for help is just a fancy word for procrastination. The real move is to stop making calls and start sharpening your own sickle. You know what's funny is that true help, the real friends, they usually show up after you've already rolled up your sleeves and started. And you have to remember, this is your life, your field. No one else is going to feel the sting of a failed harvest as much as you will.
And to really bake this into your way of thinking, try using a mantra. Something like this. Just say it to yourself. I am the primary driver of my own progress and success. I do not wait for the permission or the presence of others to begin my work. Saying it out loud actually helps remind you where the power really is, in your own hands.
So we'll leave you with this one last thought. Your potential, your harvest, it's out there and it's ready right now. Don't let it rot in the field while you wait for other people who, let's be honest, are probably busy with their own fields. Be your own help. Take the first step. Go forth and reap your own field.